MMA. Experience it on Fox Sports 1.
Welcome to Broomfield, Colorado, just 16 miles away from the first ever UFC event. And tomorrow, over 21 years later, the UFC returns to the Centennial State with 10 fights you can catch on Fox Sports 1. UFC Fight Night weigh-in show starts right now. Everybody, I'm Karen Bryan, and for the next hour, I will be in our Los Angeles studio alongside the former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz and top 10 middleweight Michael Bisping. Heidi Andral will join us from Broomfield in just a bit. Well, the weigh-ins haven't even started yet, and the Friday the 13th curse has already struck. Nick Lentz is out of his scheduled bout with Levon Makashvili. The UFC's medical consultant, Dr. Davidson, believes that Lentz has the flu. Both fighters will still receive their show money. Guys, it's a bummer. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, Nick Lentz, the way that he's shown to be as an athlete, this is not something that he just pulls out of. He knows what this fight means for the standings in the division. Everybody's looking for a title shot, him included. So this means a lot. I hope he gets well, and I hope he gets well fast.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Nick Lentz. I can only imagine how frustrated he is pulling out of a fight on the day of a weigh-in. Nick, if you're watching, take some vitamin C, get some echinacea, feed up, and enjoy the fights.
Yeah, vitamin C. Don't you usually say vitamin?
Vitamin C.
Oh, man.
Hopefully we will get to see that fight at some point.
Leave me alone.
Folks, listen, while they argue about semantics, we have got an intriguing welterweight bout. Topping the show, Dominic, Stephen Thompson was originally booked in the main event. Injury forced Wonderboy out of the bout with Thatch. So 4 weeks removed from his bout with Donald Cerrone, in steps Benson Henderson up a weight class against a local boy, Brandon Thatch.
I love this fight because Ben understands the amount of pressure this is. He's coming off a loss against another kickboxer. He moved up a weight class, and he took this fight on short notice against a guy who trains at altitude. All that being said, I know that's hard, and Ben knows all that stuff, and it gives him power as, like, I might be an underdog in this, but watch how much I proved everybody wrong. I'm going to go out there and win this fight, and I'm excited to see his performance.
Yeah, absolutely. All credit to Benson Henderson for stepping up a weight class and taking on this beast, Brandon Thatch. Brandon Thatch has got 11 first-round stoppages. He's on a 10-fight win streak. I can't wait to see this fight go down.
Thatch has a lot of buzz, but it's his first main event. We're going to toss it down to John Anik, who is running the show at the weigh-ins. Take it away, John.
What is up, Broomfield, Colorado? Great to be back in the Mile High City. How about a hand our Octagon girls, Vanessa and Chrissy? The best matchmaking team on the planet, Joe Silva and Sean Shelby. The All-American Brian Stan is in the building. The one, the only, the inimitable Burt Watson bringing up the rear. Let's get things going. We begin with the Fox Sports 1 UFC Fight Night prelims. First up in the lightweight division, James Moonwalker Moon Tasri versus Cody the Fist Fister.
Tomorrow, Brandon Thatch is back to reclaim his past glory against former lightweight champion Benson Henderson. Henderson Thatch headlines a full night of action on UFC Fight Night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
Other way. 156.
156 for the Fist, Cody Fister. And his opponent, James Moon Tasri.
James Moon Tasri started Taekwondo at the age of 8 years old and then transitioned to mixed martial arts by only 19. Over that period of time, he was able to earn his nickname, the Moonwalker. That's because he kicks so fast that it appears that he's floating. All I really want to see is the moonwalk shuffle at the end of this weigh-in, though.
$158.
158. Our 158 for James Boone-Tashley. He has until 6 p.m. local time to cut the remaining 2 pounds. All right, our next prelim is in the flyweight division. Zach Fun Size Makovski versus Timothy Elliott.
Timothy Elliott made his way out to Colorado a couple of weeks early to help adjust to the altitude. He said this elevation is the real deal. He went over and trained at Factory X. He said he had to make some adjustments, specifically not using too much extra movement.
125.
125 for Timothy Elliott. And his opponent, currently ranked number 10 in the world, Zach Makovski.
Fun size Zach Makovski is a Division I wrestling standout with over 70 amateur grappling matches on his resume. Therefore, it's safe to assume he knows his armbars from his rear naked chokes. Beating guys like Scott Jorgensen and Josh Sampo in his first 2 UFC outings, it's fair to say that also, although they call him fun size, he's certainly not fun to fight.
$125 and a half.
125 and a half for Zach Makovski. All right, next up, shaping up as a good one in the featherweight division, Chaz the Scrapper Skelly versus Jim the Beast Allers.
This month, the best drivers in the world will push themselves and their cars to the limits in the 57th running of the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 begins Sunday, February 22nd at noon Eastern, only on Fox.
For the Beast. And his opponent, the Scrapper, Chaz Skelly.
Tomorrow, Pride will be on the line as last season's pole sitters face past event winners in a star-studded launch to the NASCAR season. Don't miss the Sprint Unlimited at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
$145 and 3/4.
145 and 3/4 for Chaz Skelly. All right, now we get to our featured prelim bout in the lightweight division. Efrain Hecho on Mexico Escudero versus Rodrigo de Lima.
Wednesday, don't miss UFC Tonight, featuring UFC Bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw, co-hosting with Kenny and Daniel as we recap all of this weekend's action and look ahead to next Sunday's UFC Fight Night. Catch UFC Tonight Wednesday at 8 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
$154 and a half.
154 and a hook for Rodrigo de Lima. And his opponent, Efrain Escudero.
Efrain Escudero graduated from Grand Canyon University with a degree in sociology and criminal justice. When he's not fighting, he uses that degree to volunteer in prisons. He specifically works with juveniles and the gang units.
$156 for Efrain Escudero.
We are on to the 6-fight main card, which you can see on Fox Sports 1 Saturday night. First up, a pair of flyweights with nicknames you won't soon forget. Chris, the Greek assassin Kalaitis versus Ray, the Taz Mexican Devil Borg. Kalaitis up first.
Chris Kalaitis picked up his last UFC fight on only 5 days' notice against Patrick Holohan, which he wasn't really favored in that fight, and he was able to pull it out. So I'm curious to see how he does. He's the number 2 ranked flyweight in Canada. He's finished more than half of his fights, and in 6 years, he's accoladed a record of 8-1. So this guy's game. He's in the UFC. He won a fight on short notice. Let's see what he can do with the due time. Let's see how well he performs when he's got all the time he needs for camp, when he's on weight, he's healthy, he's in shape. I'm very excited to see what this guy can do at 125 pounds for the rest of the division.
And that fight against Patrick Holohan on 5 days' notice, that was fight of the night. It really was an incredible matchup.
Yeah, he came out still wearing the plastic suit. We've already got the towel up. Obviously, it looks like it's going to be a close call here on the scale.
Anybody weighing 125 is close.
Yeah, the thing is, if you cover yourself in Vaseline to try and lose the moisture, it kind of sticks to your skin a little bit. So you've really got to make sure you get that off you because you can weigh in heavy. And he's certainly making sure of that. Not looking good.
127.
127 for Chris Kalaitis.
2 pounds, or 1 pound.
1 pound overweight.
Again, he has until 6 p.m. local time here in Colorado to cut that final pound.
Guys, is it harder to cut weight at high elevation?
Do you know what, to be honest, I actually have no experience of doing that, so I couldn't actually comment.
That's actually a very,
and his
actually
opponent,
a very good
Ray Borg.
Ray Borg has a serious obsession, and it's with Twinkies. That is right. He said it's like a whole nother food group for him. He said Twinkies and chocolate aisles, which is simply chocolate-covered Twinkies. He hasn't been able to have any during this camp. He said it's been torture, but his teammate will be standing by with some Twinkies for after the fight.
Talking of Twinkies, that used to be my nickname a long time ago. Twinkle Toast Tommy, as I'm known in some circles.
It's coming back, Michael. You know that now.
125 3/4.
125 3/4 for Ray Borg.
That's a good stare down.
Yeah, it is.
All right, with that backdrop, we move along to the lightweight division. Michel Tractor Prazetic versus Kevin, the Motown Phenom Lee.
Well, talk about a baptism of fire. Kevin Lee's first UFC fight was against top contender Al Iaquinta. He lost that fight but was very impressive in defeat and showed the potential that he possesses. The Motown Phenom has since fired up 2 straight victories, showcasing his talents and proving to be a worthy addition to the ultra-competitive lightweight division.
$155 and a quarter.
155 and a quarter for Kevin Lee. And his opponent, Michel Prazeres.
Michel Prazeres was inspired by Bruce Lee movies. He started training at 12 years old, and it was all Bruce Lee's fault. Currently, he's a Pará State military police officer while he pursues his dream as a professional fighter. So he's got a full-time job in Brazil as a police officer. He's a second-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is no surprise being from Brazil, as that's how they grow up in this sport, is in that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and 8 first-round finishes. Let's see how the weight goes. That's the fight right now, people.
Back a little, go in the corner, back. 157 and a quarter.
157 and a quarter for Michel Prazeres.
1 1/4 pounds overweight.
It's crazy.
It's a shame.
So crazy. So many people.
Yeah, I really do wonder, guys, if cutting weight at an altitude makes a difference.
You know, that, I haven't heard any issues. I've cut weight at altitude and it still comes off.
Take it to 156, see where we're at. 156.
156.
156
Wow.
for
Nice.
Michel Prazeres.
Underwear.
Now, you would think it wouldn't make a difference, but if you keep seeing guys weighing in heavy, it makes me question.
Depends on what size underwear you wear.
I'm going to say that's some heavy underwear he's wearing there. I mean, we'll leave that there.
Yeah, I think we should stop there.
Certainly a solidly built lightweight, though.
Oh, there we go.
Uh-oh.
That's what I like to see. We know we have a fight on our hands.
I like it. Some people don't like being friends before a fight. It's just the way it is, you know?
All right, moving on now to the middleweight division. Daniel Kelly versus Patrick Walsh.
Patrick Walsh said his father, who is a commercial fisherman, is his hero. He said his dad always told him it doesn't matter what you do, just be the best at it. And that is what Patrick is doing. He said his dad has always worked his tail off, and that is where he gets his work ethic from.
Not the most confident look I've ever seen.
No. He looks a little concerned.
Other way, other way. $191 and a half.
Oh,
191 and a half for Patrick Walsh.
That's
And
pretty
his
crazy.
opponent, Daniel Kelly.
Daniel Kelly fights out of Australia, and if you think that gives his an American opponent a home field advantage, think again. Kelly has represented his native Australia in judo at a total of 4 different Olympic Games and has literally travelled the world with his judo career. Since switching to MMA, he's undefeated at 8-0, and regarding fighting in elevation at Colorado, he says it doesn't matter where we're fighting. He could be fighting in Antarctica for all he cares, because a fight's a fight wherever it takes place.
$185 and a half.
185 and a half for Daniel Kelly.
And that's how it's done. Yeah, he's not happy, and rightly so. You go through all that hard work to make weight, and your opponent disrespects you. I'd be annoyed as well. He's really not happy.
Moving on now to a feature bout in the welterweight division. Neil Magny versus Strasser Kiichi Kunimoto.
Kiichi Kunimoto is a Japanese fighter, and you know, don't sleep on this guy because he's got an overhand right from a place that you don't want to know. This guy will put your lights out. He was a pro skater before he started fighting. I think that's where he got that right hand. Somebody tried to jump in on his bowl, and he got up out of the bowl and knocked him out with that right hand. But who knows? He got his nickname from Strasser, David Strasser, which is the guy he trained with for about a month out here, and I guess it stuck. So I guess Strasser is getting a little bit famous for this guy, isn't he?
Trained with him for a month, but took his name. Made a big impact.
Clearly.
170 on the nose for Kiichi Kunimoto. And his opponent, let's hear it, Broomfield, Neil Magny.
They say that practice makes perfect. Well, Neil Magny has had perfect practice. He had 5 UFC victories in 2014, so stepping onto the scale here is just like another day in the office. And that's lucky because making weight must be difficult for him. He stands at 6'3". He's very well built and he has an 81-inch reach. And that's why some people on Twitter are now referring to him as the Grim Reacher.
You know,
true story.
I think that could stick.
The Grim Reacher. I liked it.
I liked it. Clever.
$170 and a half.
170 and a half for
Two
Neil
professionals making
Magny.
weight. That's what it's about.
An 81-inch reach at welterweight. That is that's quite incredible.
Nate Marquardt there with him.
That's his longtime mentor. Two big welterweights.
And that brings us to the co-main event in the featherweight division. Max Blessed Holloway versus Cole Magrino Miller.
The vastly experienced Cole Miller has been on the UFC roster since 2007, fighting at lightweight and featherweight. He's had some mixed results over the years, but he's also had great success against opponents like Sam Cecilia, Leonard Garcia, and the always hard-to-beat Ross Pearson. He does feel a little overlooked in the division, though, and he feels that by beating Max Holloway, he's saying to the UFC, hey, remember me? I've been here the whole time.
Don't mess with it. 145.
145 from Magrino. And his opponent ranked number 13 in the world, Max Holloway.
Max Holloway is from Oahu, Hawaii, and he still trains out there. He started training at the end of his sophomore year in high school, and before that he was only a handyman. So you could tell he had his mind on it. He was either go to school or pursue his dream of fighting. Everybody probably called him crazy as I followed a similar path, but now look at where he's at. Out
Same
there
here.
fighting, following his dream, living a happy life, beating people up.
That's exactly what I did, and now I'm sat next to you.
Yep, and you still got that twinkle in your eye.
There you go.
Twinkle toes.
Twinkle toes taught me.
145 and a quarter.
145 and a
This is a
quarter
great
for
fight,
Max
guys.
Holloway.
I think we're going to see some liver shots and some spinning back kicks to the liver. That's how I'm seeing it.
And some sub attempts.
Yeah, Max Holloway was my one fighter to watch on UFC Tonight on Wednesday night. Always fun to watch.
And again, the only person who has gone the distance with our friend.
Yep, that's right. And 4 straight victories and 4 straight finishes since that fight with Conor McGregor as well.
All right, now it is time to take a closer look at the two men who share the marquee and will share the octagon in tomorrow night's welterweight main event. Take a look.
This fight against Brandon Thatch, Joe Silva asked me if I'd be willing to take it. I said, I'm your man, I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm very happy that Benson Henderson stepped up to the plate and accepted the fight. I prepared for a different opponent stylistically, but I'm going to fight the same way if it was anyone. I'm going to dictate where the fight goes, and people are going to know that I'm for real.
Brandon Thatch is an animal. He said this crowd is silent.
There's not a hint of uncertainty in how he performs inside the octagon. He is extremely strong and extremely big for the welterweight division.
He's coming out that first round, and he's going for the kill.
He's just got this air about him that it's his time. Benson Henderson is one of the very best fighters in the UFC, period.
Benson's exciting. He's dangerous all around, and he's got tons of heart.
He's an outstanding technician, both with his stand-up skills and with his ground game.
I definitely have the edge in experience, but past titles, UFC titles, all that being said, this fight is the biggest fight of my career. I'm excited for this matchup against Brandon Thatch because I know he's going to come after me, and then just testing the waters at 170. That's a great challenge. See how the body holds up going up a weight class. That's extra damage you can take.
Coming up in a higher weight class, he doesn't have to cut weight. He's going to be pretty fresh, and he's fast. A victory over Benson Henderson is a great win for me. He's a big name in the sport, and it's just going to catapult me to the next level.
For Brandon Thatch, fighting in the UFC as a main event for the first time, fighting in his hometown, I know he has a lot on his plate right now.
It's definitely more pressure fighting at home, but I don't think it's negative pressure. It's good pressure, and I'm going to feed on it and capitalize on it. I'm not going to lose. That's my house.
Fans can be excited for two hyper-aggressive guys getting after it. I'm going to beat Brandon Thatch at his own game. I'm going to show the world that I'm a real contender at the welterweight class.
First fighter to the scale, representing the Mile High City, Brandon "Ruckus" Thatch.
You might not know Brandon Thatch too well in the UFC yet, but you will after this fight. He's extremely dangerous. He's got 11 wins in the first round, finishes, not just wins, finishes in the first round, 8 KOs and 3 submissions. At the same time, he's on a 10-fight win streak. This is a guy that wants to win and wants to challenge himself against Ben.
Good. 170.
170 for Brandon Thatch. And his opponent is the former UFC lightweight champion of the world, Smooth Benson Henderson.
Benson Henderson says he will fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, and he has proved that by stepping up a weight class on short notice to fight tough welterweight prospect Brandon Thatch. Speaking to Henderson earlier this week, he said he isn't fazed by his opponent's size advantage as he trains with bigger guys all the time and more than holds his own. As usual, the Smooth one is calm and collected going into this fight, but I expect his demeanor to change come fight time as the pressure builds.
$169.
169 for Benson Henderson.
169, and you know he had a big breakfast this morning. As I said, he's always calm going into a fight. I think that might change when he realizes how much bigger Brandon Thatch really is.
Goodness, that's a big size advantage. The wrestling is going to have to be an absolute necessity.
All right, with that, the main event is official. Thank you all so much for coming out. We'll see you right back here for the fight.
All right, thank you very much, John Anik. Welcome back to the West Coast. Dominic, we have seen Benson Henderson weigh in the UFC 12 times, never at 170 pounds. How do you think he looked?
I think he looked great. He still looked very in shape, very lean. You know, I think this is going to give him power. I think he's going to do better because he can push a higher pace.